Something extraordinary happened this past weekend that is going to be ubiquitous to the change of motocross and supercross in the entire world of two-wheeled racing. That is an electric bike racing against combustion motorcycles over in Japan for the round 8. Freaking incredible. And you had the rider, Trey Canard, the dude that left so much on the table. Guy is incredibly talented, but unfortunately just some stream of bad luck. The most noticeable one I can think of is when Ryan Morris actually landed on him because he got stuck with the tough block. We will see here in slow-mo, Canard right here got that tough block, and then boom. Bad injuries for both of them, realistically career-ending injuries for both of them. And you got to give it up for Trey Canard because he also did a TED Talk that was about trauma. I mean, the kid's been through so much. I thought he was the perfect rider to have an inaugural race of essentially the catalyst of having electric bikes start being more mainstream. We had World Supercross have a poll of, hey, should electric Stark Varg and the Honda prototypes be allowed to race Supercross against combustion bikes? We saw over there, I mean, he was very competitive, incredibly competitive. Jay Wilson, the Australian champion, took him out. To be fair, the lines came together. You can see him on the outside. Lines just kind of came together. Jay was trying to take the line, but it just ended up. Anyway, not the best racing for Canard. I know he was nervous. He hasn't done anything for a long time, but he got 2 hole shots and he went second, DNF. Like with here, the motorcycle wasn't able to continue. The bike had some issues. He looked fast. The bike was fast. The starts were cheating because of how much raw power that these bikes have. People are talking about putting like a horsepower limit on the Stark Vargs or whatever. No, it just needs to be an open class. Just simply an open class, kind of like what Arena Cross has going, or they need their own class in general. But this is proof that this is happening, regardless of what everyone wants to talk about and everybody that has been around the sport for the last 50 years with two-strokes. What happened to two-strokes? You had this new technology come into two-wheel racing. Wasn't really new, but it was new for dirt bikes, and it made the price go through the roof, and then it just, we were at mercy of what the manufacturers did, and we just bought bikes. I remember my dad buying that YZ400, that the compression on that sucker was 6,900 cc's. You couldn't kick it over, and when you did get it to start, you wanted to just overheat it because you didn't want to turn it off because you weren't going to be able to start it again. But we were forced to do that, right? And then you had the CRF 150 trying to get into the little bikes, and they weren't able to make the change because the bike was heavy. It really didn't make that much more power because of from power to weight ratio at those small of CCs. It really didn't make a big enough difference. And therefore, all of the young kids coming up that are racing professionally today were on two-strokes for 65s and 85s. And 50s recently were changed by the 4-strokes from the PW50 to then the CRF 50 and whatever. But the top line 50s still are the Cobras. But you know what's going to take over the Cobras? These electric Hondas and KTMs. These bikes are quick. The gas 50s. However, I digress. My point is that what has happened to the little bikes? A lot of guys are learning on electric bikes. And then you've got these 50s that can be pretty much transformed up to as tall as a 65. Next, we're going to have full-blown electric 85s. And it's just, these kids are never going to understand how to ride a two-stroke because they weren't exposed to it. They're not going to learn how to shift. It's just like the majority of the kids, starting with the millennials, most of us don't know how to drive sticks because getting your license, it was rare to have a vehicle. And now a lot of the big corporations are not even making a stick shift anymore. It's very, very, very interesting. It's just the changing of the times, right? You can accept it or you can fight against it. However, the people that are in control of the money are going to make the rules, and that's where this is headed. Absolutely, 100%, this is where it's headed. Yes, we can talk all we want about batteries and whatnot. There's new technology, or the technology's been there, but it hasn't been designed specifically for motorcycles to kind of have hydroelectric type stuff that could make a crap ton of power and hold a lot of energy, so that you don't have these Starks and these Hondas die and you need a gas-powered generator to run them. Yeah, maybe for a few years, but it is changing right in front of our faces. Really, I'm already kind of convinced that the next full-blown bike that I want to buy is something like the Stark. But now that we've got this Honda out, it might not be out 2025, 2026, I wouldn't mind picking up something like that, just because of the sheer fact that it's going to keep mechanical issues down as far as from myself, right? I don't need to have a full-blown mechanic. This is changing for the privateers. I don't understand how any professional racer that is doing it on their own budget wouldn't buy one of these things as long as they were able to race it, because the maintenance is going to be down. Yeah, there's still going to be certain things that is going to have to R&D through it and beta test. I pretty much just said the same couple things. However, you get my point here, and I want to know what your guys' comments are down below. Give it up for Trey for going over there, kicking everyone's ass. Yeah, he got 2 DNFs. He got taken out, but what a showing that was. Freaking in-effing incredible. Way to go, Trey. Till next time, keep it WFO. Brop.